This is the case against Superman, the alien savior who promised hope and delivered headlines, black holes, and 6 blocks of collateral damage. This time, the danger isn't who he fights, it's how he fights. Let the prosecution begin. Exhibit A. The Bravia situation. He called it a peacekeeping mission, but the last time someone unilaterally flew into a foreign country and vaporized their weapons, we called it an act of war. Superman didn't ask, he didn't negotiate, he floated into Baravian airspace like a judgmental drone, pointed at the guy in charge and said, "Try it again and I'll be back." No trial, no UN, just heat vision and moral certainty. And when asked why he did it, he said something about protecting Jahanpur's innocent civilians, which is great. Except, even Lois pointed out that Jahanpur isn't exactly running a humanitarian utopia either. But Superman doesn't do nuance. He does body language and direct sunlight. He dropped a dictator to his knees and flew away before the cameras could get the right angle. It wasn't liberation, it was cinematic interventionism. Charge 1. Unauthorized military action in a sovereign nation without voter approval or even a cool entrance song. Exhibit B. The public relations machine. He gave an exclusive interview to the Daily Planet with Lois Lane. You know, the same Lois Lane he's dating, the same Lois Lane who knows he's Clark Kent, and then he acted like it was objective journalism. He didn't answer hard questions, he posed for them. He turned a war crime into a cover story, talked about feelings, talked about courage, talked about truth. He forgot to mention that truth was delivered via heat vision to a tank brigade 4 time zones away. But sure, slap a quote in 24-point font and call it transparency. He controls the narrative, he even proofreads it. He's not lying, he's publishing. Charge 2. Ethical violation via conflict of interest and weaponized journalism. Exhibit C. The Kryptonian Conqueror tape. Then came the leak. Jor-El and Lara, projected in perfect HD, saying Kal-El was sent to Earth not to save it, but to subdue it. Now it was fake, deep fake, edited, distorted. But here's the thing, it worked, because people were already wondering why their savior had a jawline sharper than international law. And what did Superman do in response? He doom-scrolled, he read the hashtags, super spy, super shit, Krypton colonizer, and then he brooded on a rooftop at golden hour for 4 hours straight. He didn't refute the video, didn't present counter evidence, he waited for people to just believe in him. Because Superman doesn't defend himself. He assumes you'll remember he saved a bus that one time. Charge 3. Reckless inaction in response to propaganda and failure to manage a global reputation crisis. Exhibit D. The Lois interview fallout. Let's talk about Lois Lane. Sharp, brave. Sharp again. She doesn't fall for gods. She dates the ones who take out the trash, and even she got tired of Superman. Not because he was evil, but because he was exhausting. The grandstanding, the disappearances, the assumption that good intentions covered for everything else. Lois almost called it quits. Not because she doesn't love him, but because dating Superman is like dating jury duty. Relentless, unpredictable, and exhausting. And for a moment, it looked like Clark Kent, the man, might actually have to feel something. He dropped "I love you" like it was a cape-shaped band-aid, and then bolted into the sky to punch another crisis instead of finishing the conversation. Because Superman can face intergalactic warlords, but not a conversation about boundaries. Charge 4. Emotional avoidance resulting in near breakup tension and romantic crisis management via exit velocity. Exhibit E. The pocket prison debacle. And then came the moment that should have broken the myth. Not with kryptonite, not with a god-tier villain, but with a cage. A billionaire-built, pocket-dimension hamster ball of a cage, courtesy of Lex Luthor, who somehow decided that if the courts couldn't clip Superman's wings, maybe privatized science fiction could. So here's Superman, the man who can split atoms with his eyes, locked away in a dimension with no sunlight, no trial, no exit door. And what does he do? Nothing. He stays. He sits in his extra-dimensional timeout, like detention is part of the job description. He doesn't melt the walls, he doesn't punch through reality, he doesn't even look annoyed, he just complies. Let's be clear, this wasn't accountability, it was theatre. Accountability, theatre. A show designed to make Superman look noble, while he quietly validated the very system that just criminalized him. He wasn't powerless, he was participating. By choice. because somewhere deep down, Clark Kent apparently believes martyrdom is better optics than resistance. And sure, he breaks out when the plot finally demands it, but the initial compliance, that wasn't strategy, that was guilt in spandex. Charge 5. Voluntary participation in billionaire-engineered incarceration under the false moral premise of accountability theater. Exhibit F. You took the dog. When Lex Luthor kidnapped Krypto, everything changed. Superman, stoic, calculated, quiet, lost it. You took the dog, he growled. Not, you started a war. Not, you manipulated the media. Not, you nearly got Lois killed. No, the dog, because Superman can forgive humanity's worst, but hurt his golden retriever and he becomes Zeus in a cape. We're not saying he's wrong, we're saying maybe we found the line. Charge 6. Selective rage activation, triggered by canine hostage situation. Exhibit G. The final battle and the black hole exit. In the end, he saved everyone, stopped the invasion, beat the clone, cried a little, but let's talk about that monster he fought in Metropolis, the kaiju-sized thing with glowing eyes and teeth like a real estate lawsuit. They fought for 10 minutes, leveled 6 blocks, and how does it end? He hurls his clone into a collapsing pocket universe black hole. No debris, no cleanup, no biology report, no awkward mayoral press conference. Just cut to sunset. Superman doesn't handle aftermath. He handles moments. Moments that look good from orbit. Moments that can fit in a TikTok. Moments that suggest everything's okay. Until someone checks the infrastructure budget. Charge 7. Gross negligence in post-battle environmental responsibility paired with sunset-driven scene transition. He meant well. They always do. He saved lives, and he smiled at children. He flew headfirst into things no human could survive. But he also intervened in wars he didn't understand, controlled media without transparency, let disinformation spread because he didn't want to argue. He let the cape do the talking, until it said something he couldn't take back. Superman's sin isn't arrogance, it's certainty, the kind that skips the vote, skips the nuance, skips the boring work of staying. He tells us he's here to help, and we want to believe him, but when belief becomes a reflex, truth becomes a casualty. The charges: freelance intervention in international conflict, conflict of interest via romanticized journalism, failure to counter global propaganda, emotional avoidance and near breakup tension, submitting to accountability theater instead of true justice, selective rage over canine hostage situation, negligence in post-battle cleanup and civic responsibility, Superman, alien, adopted son, sky-colored crisis manager, hope personified. May he rest in peace, because the court sentences him to a lifetime of transparency, no capes, no edits, and a publicist with clearance to say no. But if you really want to understand how all of this started, the war, the smear campaign, the hashtags, the prison jumpsuit, you need to look at the man who built it all from behind the curtain. Lex Luthor didn't just break Superman, he branded him. And in the next trial, we're not just pulling back the mask, we're putting the billionaire genius in the witness box. Because sometimes the real supervillain doesn't fly. He funds the flight plan.